In 2003, a 9-foot great white shark was tagged off the coast of Australia. Researchers were tracking its movements. Then something happened. The signal showed a sudden, violent dive, down to 1,900 feet. That's far deeper than a shark that size normally goes. But the depth wasn't the strangest part. The tag recorded a rapid temperature spike, from 46 degrees Fahrenheit to nearly 78 degrees in seconds. The only place that warm that deep in the ocean is inside another animal. The data suggested the shark was attacked and swallowed whole. Researchers believe the most likely suspect was a much larger great white, possibly 16 to 20 feet long. Cannibalism among great whites is rare, but not impossible. More dramatic theories spread quickly: giant squid, unknown sea predators, even prehistoric survivors. But the simplest explanation is often the most terrifying: a bigger shark. 4 months later, the tag washed up on a beach. The shark known as Alpha was never seen again. In the deep ocean, even predators can become prey. Have you ever heard of the man that started a billion-dollar business at 65 years old? This is the story of Harlan Sanders. This 65 years old man was nearly broke, but he had a fried chicken recipe he believed in. So he started driving across America, walking into restaurants, asking them to use his recipe. He was rejected over and over again, some say more than 1,000 times. Most people would have stopped, but being old and broke, Sanders had nothing to lose. He kept knocking on doors. Finally, one restaurant said yes. That one yes turned into a franchise, and that franchise became Kentucky Fried Chicken. This beach is known as the shark attack capital of the world, with over 300 attacks recorded. That sounds terrifying, but the story is more complicated. Since the 1880s, this stretch of coastline has recorded more shark bites than almost anywhere else on Earth. Some years, it accounts for nearly a third of all shark bites in the United States. So why here? It's not because the sharks are larger. New Smyrna sits beside an inlet where baitfish gather in massive numbers. Where there are baitfish, there are predators. Add in warm water, strong currents, and one of the busiest surf communities in Florida, and you get constant overlap between sharks and humans. Most bites happen in shallow water. Most involve juvenile blacktip sharks, and most are minor. In fact, fatal attacks here are extremely rare. New Smyrna isn't deadly. It's crowded, and in the ocean, crowded means contact. In 2003, a 9-foot great white shark was tagged off the coast of Australia. Researchers were tracking its movements. Then something happened. The signal showed a sudden, violent dive, down to 1,900 feet. That's far deeper than a shark that size normally goes. But the depth wasn't the strangest part. The tag recorded a rapid temperature spike, from 46 degrees Fahrenheit to nearly 78 degrees in seconds. The only place that warm that deep in the ocean is inside another animal. The data suggested the shark was attacked and swallowed whole. Researchers believe the most likely suspect was a much larger great white, possibly 16 to 20 feet long. Cannibalism among great whites is rare, but not impossible. More dramatic theories spread quickly: giant squid, unknown sea predators, even prehistoric survivors. But the simplest explanation is often the most terrifying: a bigger shark. 4 months later, the tag washed up on a beach. The shark known as Alpha was never seen again. In the deep ocean, even predators can become prey. You know that quiet moment when the world finally goes still and something in you exhales for the first time all day. The lights are low, notifications stop, and your thoughts feel clearer than they did hours ago. People often misunderstand that state. Staying up late gets labeled as laziness, poor discipline, or bad habits. But that framing misses what's actually happening. It treats a pattern like a flaw when it's really a response. The psychology of people who stay up late is rarely explained with care. There's more going on here than sleep schedules. Research on circadian rhythms and stress regulation shows that for some nervous systems, nighttime feels safer. Fewer demands, less monitoring, more control. The brain relaxes when it senses reduced threat. Often, this pattern forms early. A busy home, emotional responsibility, little space to be uninterrupted. Late hours become the first time the mind learns it can exist without pressure. This isn't better or worse than waking early. It's just different wiring. The paradox is that the same sensitivity that keeps you awake is also what makes you reflective, creative, and deeply attuned. You're not broken. Your rhythm makes sense. And if this feels familiar, there are other quiet patterns in you worth understanding. This fish is built like a missile. Tuna can swim over 70 kilometers per hour, but speed isn't the craziest part. Unlike most fish, tuna can keep parts of their body warm. Their muscles, eyes, and brain stay hotter than the surrounding ocean. That means faster reactions, more power, and less fatigue. They never stop swimming. They never slow down. Inside their bodies, blood is recycled like an engine cooling system. Tuna aren't just fast fish. They're biological machines. This animal lives so deep in the ocean that humans almost never see it alive. The giant squid can grow longer than a bus. Its eyes are the largest ever evolved, bigger than basketballs. Those eyes aren't for beauty. They're built to detect movement in total darkness. Its only real enemy is the sperm whale. For centuries, we didn't even know giant squid were real. We only found massive suction scars on whales, and pieces washed ashore. One of the largest predators on Earth still lives mostly unseen, and we've explored more of the moon than its home.
One death feeds life for decades. When the largest animal on Earth dies, it doesn't disappear. It becomes an ecosystem. A single whale fall can support deep-sea life for over 50 years. In the deepest parts of the ocean, nothing is wasted. One death feeds life for decades. When the largest animal on Earth dies, it doesn't disappear. It becomes an ecosystem. A single whale fall can feed deep-sea life for over 50 years. First, scavengers arrive, stripping away tons of flesh. Then bacteria take over, breaking down bone and releasing energy. Entire species depend on this moment. In the deepest parts of the ocean, nothing is wasted.
The death of this whale throws the biggest event you've ever seen. When a whale dies, the ocean doesn't go quiet. It doesn't float forever. It sinks straight down thousands of meters into total darkness. This is called a whale fall, and it changes everything. The moment the body hits the seafloor, life explodes. First come the sharks, then sleeper sharks, then hagfish, twisting, knotting, tearing the body open from the inside. Within months, there's almost nothing left except the bones. But that's when it gets weird. The bones are packed with fat, so bacteria move in and start breaking them down, releasing energy like a slow-burning power plant. Worms grow without mouths. They absorb nutrients through their skin. Entire species exist only for this moment. One dead whale can feed life in the deep sea for decades. Some whale falls last 50 years. So when a whale dies, it doesn't end a story, it starts one. In the deepest, darkest places on Earth, life survives because something massive had to die first. The ocean never wastes anything.
If you replay conversations in your head, analyze what you said, and wonder how others felt, you might have been told you overthink social moments. But psychology says this isn't a flaw. It's often a sign of rare strengths. Here are 5 traits people like you usually have. 1. High social awareness. You notice tone, pauses, and energy shifts others miss. 2. A strong moral compass. You don't just care how you sound, you care how you affect people. 3. Emotional intelligence. You try to understand, not judge. 4. A growth mindset. You reflect to improve, not to punish yourself. 5. Depth. You don't want to be liked, you want to be understood. Overthinking social moments doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means your mind is thoughtful and emotionally tuned in. The goal isn't to stop thinking, it's to stop being hard on yourself. If this felt accurate, you're not broken, you're wired for depth. Follow for more psychology insights that help you understand yourself, not fix yourself. This animal weighs more than a bus, yet it launches its entire body out of the ocean. Humpback whales can reach over 40 tons. To jump like this, they have to accelerate upward with enormous force. Scientists still debate why they do it. It could be to shake off parasites. It could be a form of communication felt through the water for miles. Young humpbacks breach more often, almost like they're practicing. Whatever the reason, every jump costs a massive amount of energy. So when you see it happen, you're watching one of the most powerful and impossible movements on Earth. Humpback whales can weigh over 40 tons. So why do they jump completely out of the ocean? No one knows for sure. Diverse possible explanations are currently being examined. Some say they might be shaking off parasites. Others argue they might be communicating with other whales miles away. Or it could be something else. Young humpbacks breach more often, almost like they're playing or practicing. So it could also be a playful moment for them. What we do know is that when a whale jumps, it takes enormous energy. So when you see it happen, you're watching one of the most powerful and mysterious movements in the natural world. Why do you think they jump? Humpback whales can weigh over 40 tons. So why do they jump completely out of the ocean? No one knows for sure. Diverse possible explanations are currently being examined. Some say they might be shaking off parasites. Others argue they might be communicating with other whales miles away. Or it could be something else. Young humpbacks breach more often, almost like they're playing or practicing. So it could also be a playful moment for them. What we do know is that when a whale jumps, it takes enormous energy. So when you see it happen, you're watching one of the most powerful and mysterious movements in the natural world. Why do you think they jump? Killer whales aren't just powerful hunters. They're one of the few animals on Earth with something like culture. They have their own societies. Different groups of killer whales hunt different prey. Some eat fish, others hunt seals, some even hunt whales. And they don't mix. They have their own calls, their own hunting techniques, and their own traditions. A killer whale raised in one group can't simply join another. It wouldn't know how to live. They don't just learn to hunt. They inherit a way of life. In the ocean, killer whales aren't just predators, they're societies. They're called killer whales, but that name didn't come from humans being hunted. It came from sailors. Hundreds of years ago, sailors watched these animals hunt together, taking down seals, even whales much larger than themselves. They called them whale killers. Over time, the name was flipped, and whale killer became killer whale. But here's the part most people don't know. There has never been a single confirmed case of a wild killer whale killing a human. They are powerful, they are intelligent, they hunt with strategy, communication, and precision. The name sounds terrifying, but the truth is far more fascinating.
Blue whales are the biggest animals to ever exist, but what most people don't realize is how quiet their world really is. They spend most of their lives moving slowly through vast, empty oceans. Sometimes there can be hundreds of kilometers between one whale and another. So they sing, not to hunt, not to fight, but to let the ocean know they're still there. Their calls travel across the sea, through darkness, through pressure, through silence. The biggest animal to ever exist moves gently through the planet's largest space, and somehow that makes the ocean feel even bigger. These animals break the laws of physics in ways that don't even seem real. Number 3, the cheetah. In just 3 seconds, it accelerates from 0 to highway speed, making it the fastest land animal ever recorded. Number 2, the squirrel. It can survive falls that should be fatal for almost any other animal because its small size gives it an incredibly low terminal velocity. And number 1, the dung beetle. This tiny insect can pull over 1,000 times its own body weight, making it the strongest animal on Earth relative to its size. Which one surprised you the most? Most people think the loudest animal on Earth is a lion, or maybe an elephant, but it's not. It's the blue whale. A single blue whale call can reach over 180 decibels. That's louder than a jet engine. Their calls travel through the ocean for hundreds of kilometers, sometimes even across entire ocean basins. They don't use sound to hunt. They use it to find each other in the vastness of the ocean. The largest animal to ever exist also has the loudest voice on Earth. You've heard of blue whales, but your brain still can't fully picture how big they really are. A blue whale's heart is about the size of a small car. Its tongue alone can weigh more than an elephant, and some of its arteries are so wide, a human could actually swim through them. Its heartbeat is so powerful, it can be heard from kilometers away, underwater. And here's the part most people don't expect. Blue whales are bigger than the largest dinosaurs that ever lived, bigger than anything that has ever walked, swum, or crawled on Earth. The biggest animal to ever exist is still alive today. Take a second and let that sink in. The strongest animal on land isn't what you think. It's not the elephant, not the lion, not even the gorilla. Because strength isn't about size. It's about how much you can lift compared to your own body weight. One animal can lift over 50 times its own weight. It's the dung beetle, the strongest animal on land by weight.
Did you know that crows can hold a grudge against you? They can recognize and remember human faces. Scientists have found that crows can remember people for years. If a crow sees you as a threat, it won't forget. It can even warn other crows about you. And sometimes they'll come back to harass the same person later. So if a crow stares at you, it might remember you. Never wrong a crow.
Crocodiles are older than dinosaurs. They've existed for over 200 million years. They lived alongside dinosaurs and survived the mass extinction that wiped them out. Crocodiles didn't need to evolve much. They were already built to survive.
Chameleons don't change color to hide. That's a myth. They change color to communicate and to control their body temperature. Bright colors can signal stress, mood, or dominance. Darker colors help them absorb heat. It's not camouflage, it's communication. This is how dogs drink water. It looks like they're just licking it, but they're not. Dogs curl their tongues backward and dip them in and out of the water very fast. This creates a small column of water that rises upward. And right before it falls, they snap their mouth shut. Weirdly, it's incredibly precise. Sharks were here before trees. They've existed for over 400 million years. Trees appeared much later on Earth. Sharks survived multiple mass extinctions that wiped out countless other species. They're not just predators, they're living history. One of its hearts stops when it swims. Octopuses have 3 hearts. 2 pump blood to the gills, and 1 pumps blood to the rest of the body. When an octopus swims, the main heart stops, which is why swimming exhausts them. That's why octopuses prefer crawling instead. This animal never forgets you, even years later. Elephants can recognize faces, voices, and emotions. They remember friends and enemies. So, if an elephant remembers you, it's for life.
Nothing scares this animal. Not lions, not snakes. This is the honey badger. It has thick, loose skin that protects it from bites, and powerful jaws that don't let go. Even venom doesn't stop it. Honey badgers can survive snake bites that would kill other animals. That's why nothing scares the honey badger.
Did you know that crows can hold a grudge against you? They can recognize and remember human faces. Scientists have found that crows can remember people for years. If a crow sees you as a threat, it won't forget. It can even warn other crows about you. And sometimes they'll come back to harass the same person later. So if a crow stares at you, it might remember you. Never wrong a crow. If you skip this, you'll stay poor. Most people never notice this. Money doesn't follow hard work first, it follows attention. The people who make money focus on one problem and solve it better than others. That's why skills beat luck. Now that you know this, don't ignore it. What skill are you going to focus on this year? Why does time feel faster as you get older? It's not your imagination playing tricks on you. Your brain doesn't measure time with clocks. It measures time with memories. When you're young, everything is new, so your brain records more moments. As you get older, days feel more repetitive. Your brain stores less detail, so time feels like it's moving faster. That's why new experiences can slow time down.